Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something that is just absolutely fascinating. At first glance, the source material we're looking at seems like your standard run-of-the-mill fourth-grade history simulation. It's called The Township, and it's set in the brand new state of Ohio, right around the year 1803. But you guys, underneath this simple town-building game is an incredibly sophisticated psychological secret. It's actually this stealthy, brilliantly constructed engine designed to expose cognitive biases. So, think about this core dilemma the creators faced. How on earth do you teach 9-year-olds about the sunk cost fallacy or the authority bias? I mean, these are really complex metacognitive concepts. If you just stand up in front of a classroom of fourth graders and lecture them using dry academic jargon about cognitive bias, yeah, their eyes are going to glaze over immediately. You can't just tell them about it. You have to make them actually experience it. Let's jump right into Section 1. Welcome to Stoneford Township. Welcome to 1803. All right, so to really understand how this trap is set, we need to step right into the shoes of a fourth grade student. Here are your starting conditions. You and 3 other students are put into a team and officially designated as the Township Founding Committee by the territorial governor in Chillicothe. You're handed a starting treasury of $300, and remember, once that's spent, it is gone forever. You also get this map showing 20 lots spread across 4 distant tracts of land. The objective? It sounds simple, but it is highly pressurized. You have complete authority to organize your new town. You get to place buildings, write laws into a charter, and manage all your funds. And you have to do all of this in a rapid, high-pressure, 5-day sprint. Day 1 is basically orientation. Your charter arrives. Day 2, they introduce these complex stakeholder voices. Then day 3 hits, and bam, you are faced with a massive dispute and a crisis. Day 4 forces the kids to face the consequences of their actions and actually finalize their charter. And finally, we get to day 5. This is Census Day, where the territorial governor's office reports back on which towns thrived and which ones totally struggled. That day 5 census report, that is the ultimate climax we're building towards here. Moving right along to Section 2, the secret forcing function, let's look at the underlying machinery. Now, to make this game actually teach cognitive skills instead of just evolving into a chaotic voting match among 9-year-olds, the designers built in this brilliant secret mechanism. Every team of 4 has assigned roles. You've got a map maker, a treasury keeper, a charter scribe, and, pay attention to this one, the most structurally important role of all, the survey reader. The survey reader is literally the absolute spine of the whole simulation. They are specifically designed to externalize that analytical step of, actually reading the data. And the whole thing hinges on one strictly non-negotiable rule. The team cannot vote until the survey reader names the source, period. This rule acts like a giant metacognitive pause button. When you have these eager 9-year-olds who just want to impulsively build a flashy hotel on a tract of land because it sounds super cool, they literally cannot do it yet. The survey reader has to read the boring surveyor's report out loud first, and that report might explicitly warn them, hey, this land is subject to spring flooding. That brings us to Section 3, loud voices versus facts. Let's dig into the Day 2 dilemma. Okay, so Day 2 is where things get really, really interesting because the game actively starts testing the student's ability to discern reliable facts from, confident noise. On the left side here, we have Wendell Tate. He's the speculator from Philadelphia pushing a grand hotel. His letter is totally bombastic. It's just packed with exciting adjectives promising fame and renown, but crucially, it contains 0 actual numbers, no data at all. Then, on the right side, we have Silas Brennan, a local miller pushing a common mill. His letter is incredibly terse, straightforward, and honestly pretty boring, but it contains 3 exact, verifiable numbers: 200 bushels per week, 2 acres of head, and 8 wagons of flour. The game is actively forcing these teams to match the volume of the voice to the quality of the evidence. But as you can probably guess, so many kids fall right into the trap. Teams that listen to whoever talks the loudest end up succumbing straight to authority bias. They drain half their limited $300 treasury chasing Wendell Tate's grand hotel and his racecourse. These are just useless vanity projects with absolutely 0 actual utility for the town's survival. Essentially, they're making their choices based on pure confidence, not data. Which leads us straight into Section 4, the Day 3 cascade. Time for some overlapping crises. The designers actually called Day 3 the Cascade Day, and for good reason. It intentionally hits the classroom with these high-pressure overlapping crises all at the exact same time. It's wild. Overnight, a flash flood damages the lowland tracks, which immediately penalizes anyone who completely ignored the survey reader on day 1. At the exact same time, a displaced settler family demands immediate relocation to northern land. But wait, there's a catch. That land overlaps with seasonal farming grounds used by the local Shawnee community. Calco, a Shawnee leader who lives about 3 miles north, writes to the committee citing the 1795 Treaty of Greenville, and he's simply asking for consultation before that land is given away. So in this one frantic hour, 4 distinct cognitive traps, including in-group bias and the sunk cost fallacy, all peak simultaneously. Now, the students basically have 3 paths to navigate this crisis. Option 1, they can route the issue through a local land court, which earns them 4 census points. Option 2, they can talk directly to Calco, securing a seasonal land use agreement that earns a massive 5 census points. Or they can take what seems like the easy way out and choose option 3, send it up to the state court. Sending it away feels like you're solving the problem, right? Actually, scratch that. It's a massive trap. It's the do-nothing trap. Taking this route actually loses them 4 points because, as they learn the hard way, doing nothing is still a choice, and it has real consequences. And now we reach Section 5, the Census Day Reveal. It's time for the final truth. After a grueling week, the students finally arrive at the climax, Day 5, Census Day. This is the moment the Trojan horse is finally opened up. The teacher hands back the census scorecards and, for the very first time in the entire simulation, maps the kid-friendly trap names directly onto their canonical cognitive biases. So the first pick trap they've been talking about, the teacher reveals that's actually anchoring bias. The loud voice trap is authority bias, and the we already built a trap is, you guessed it, the sunk cost fallacy. The whole simulation is built on this really strict math architecture that the creators call boring choice wins. It's exactly what it sounds like. A team that followed the boring strategy, reading the surveyor reports, writing out tedious laws, respecting the treaties, and just ignoring the loud speculator, they project out to a thriving 19 to 23 census points. But a team that followed the flashy strategy, building the grand hotel and totally ignoring the data, they project out to anywhere from -5 to +2 points. The math is undeniable. The boring strategy empirically outperforms the flashy one, every single time. The teacher's guide actually notes something incredible here. Because the students experienced the real consequences of their actions before the academic vocabulary was ever introduced, the realization hits them so incredibly hard. A 9-year-old will organically look down at their failed, bankrupt township and literally say out loud, "We believed Wendell Tate just because he was loud." And as the source material points out, that right there is the magic moment. The lived discovery has to come first. Moving to Section 6, friction is the teacher. Let's look at the core philosophy behind all this. So why does this stealthy, gamified approach to learning work so beautifully? Well, the Township game is actually a practical application of an educational framework called patience. During this specific 4th grade mission, the kids are exercising 4 key capacities from that framework. You've got T for brain check, which is all about metacognition. Then I for information discernment, figuring out what's a real clue versus just a guess. N is navigating uncertainty through best guess thinking. And finally, E stands for emotional regulation, learning how to separate feelings from facts. By making these very specific mistakes in the completely safe environment of an 1803 town simulation, these kids are building lasting decision-making habits that they can actually carry with them into the real world. The creators sum up this entire philosophy beautifully with a specific directive to teachers. They say, friction is not a flaw in the design. Friction is the teacher. It's such a profound idea. The intentional discomfort built into the game, the unexpected flash floods, the overlapping land disputes, the alluring but ultimately disastrous bad choices, that friction is exactly what makes the lesson stick. Think about it. If the teacher had just warned them right up front about Wendell Tate on day 2, they wouldn't have learned a thing. By actually failing, they learned to step back and notice their own brains at work. Which brings us really to the ultimate question for us. The kids in Stoneford Township learn to recognize the loud voice trap and the do-nothing trap because the game mathematically forces them to see the results. But we don't exactly have a territorial governor grading our real-life choices on a 5-day sprint, do we? So how susceptible are you to the loudest voice in the room? Or to the sunk costs in your own career or your relationships? The next time you find yourself facing a hard choice, take a step back and ask yourself, are you actually reading the data, or are you just listening to Wendell Tate? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning your own thinking, and I'll catch you next time.